You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and today I am ranking all of the animated films I saw in 2021. Before we get into this ranking, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. As another year comes to a close, we are back for one of my annual ranking videos. That means we are ranking each and every animated film I saw in 2021. Now, I do my best to see pretty much all of the major released animated films of each and every year, and I try to fit some of those indies in if I'm able, if I can seek them out, or if they're just playing anywhere near me. So, no, I didn't see every animated film this year, but was able to see a total of 16 new animated releases between streaming and theatrical releases. Just be forewarned, I haven't seen Belle yet. It's not available anywhere near me at this point in time. I didn't see Spirit, and I didn't see that like weird donut extinction movie on Netflix. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. Let's cut out the chit chat and jump into this ranking, shall we? Kicking us off at number 16, aka dead last, I have Earwig and the Witch. In complete honesty, it kills me that this film ranks as my least favorite animated offering of the year. I love Studio Ghibli. I think they're fantastic. And honestly, I was excited to see this foray into 3D animation for the studio. Fortunately, Goro Miyazaki, well, he strikes again. And at this point, I'm starting to feel real comfortable saying maybe we stop letting him direct Ghibli films because, yeah, every time he's out there by himself, he turns in some of the worst offerings the studio has. And y'all, Earwig may be my least favorite Studio Ghibli film to date. I really didn't like this film. It's honestly one of my least favorite films across all mediums and genres for the year. It had no magic, it had no life. It was so pedestrian story wise. Ultimately, just turned out to be a big disappointment. I really did not care for Earwig. Coming in at number 15, I have The Boss Baby Family Business. With no secret, I did not like The Boss Baby. I thought it was pretty bad across the board. Unfortunately, though, it got an Academy Award nomination, got a lot of money, so inevitably we got a sequel. And well, the sequel is just as bad. The story is so strange. It is just a very weird movie and not in any of the good kind of weird that sometimes can be fun. The humor falls flat. The concept is ridiculous. Jeff Goldblum's character, I hate it. I really hate it. Honestly, there was very little redeeming about the second Boss Baby. It can just go straight to the diaper bin with the first one. Coming in at number 14, I have The Addams Family 2. The first Addams Family, I actually enjoyed. I thought it was fun. This one, not so much. Taking the dark, macabre family on a road trip turned out to be a trip to Disasterville because this didn't work. I thought the humor fell flat almost each and every single time. Once again, the plot itself was ridiculous and didn't play up to any of the things that made the characters fun in any adaptation of the Addams Family, but including the first animated offering. I tried to give heartfelt, and well, the heart is about as black as the wardrobe. Voice cast do what they can, but it's not nearly enough to save this uninspired, dull drag of a sequel. Again, at number 13, I have Rumble. The texture on the monsters for Rumble is actually really nice. They do a great job in that animation department, but it left very little room for animating those humans because they all looked like little rubber balls running around. Yeah. But Rumble ultimately falls victim to one of the worst sins of cinema, and that is just being boring, bland, forgettable. The story is so paint by the numbers pedestrian, and it's executed in a way that just leaves you uninspired. There's plenty of potty humor in here. Woo! And honestly, the humor in all aspects fails. I didn't even chuckle a single time in this film. End of the day, Rumble is a film that is just there. It's paint by the numbers, but it's just executed poorly, which lands it near the bottom of this list. Coming in at number 11, I have Back to the Outback. This little Netflix animated offering was fine. The characters are actually quite cute. All of the animal character designs actually are adorable, except for that shark and those weird decision to put those snail on the teeth. Oh, no, 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 no. I did not like that. But otherwise, the animal designs was really cute. I also, of course, enjoy a movie about getting animals back to where they belong and not vilifying them in these awkward ways, not treating them like beasts in a zoo. But once again, pretty pedestrian when it comes to the story. It's nothing we haven't seen several times over at this point, especially in animated fare. Jokes don't really land here either. The voice cast is okay, but they're not able to bring anything exceptional to the film per se. The animation is just fine. Everything about the film turns out to be just fine. Coming in at number 11, I have Paw Patrol, the movie. Now, I've never watched an actual episode of Paw Patrol in my life because, well, it's aimed at very small children. So, what would I be doing watching the show? However, it looks cute and obviously it has a huge fan base. Young kids eat Paw Patrol up, they love it. So, naturally, the film caters to them. And ultimately, I think it's okay. It serves exactly what it's meant to serve. I'm sure fans of the show adore the film, gives them the characters they want. The story itself is actually quite cute, and the little puppies themselves are, of course, adorable. It doesn't do anything offensively bad. It didn't make me like groan and begrudge my life as I watched it, which sometimes films aimed at very small children will do. But it suffers from just feeling like a very long episode of the TV show, animation included. That was my biggest problem, actually, is that I wish we had just cranked the animation up a little bit more and it could have been a little higher quality from the television series. But ultimately, Paw Patrol was perfectly fine. So, kicking off our top 10, I have Pokemon, The Secrets of the Jungle. And y'all know I love me some Pokemon. Hey, Pikachu. I watch all of these Pokemon movies, particularly now that they have this new Netflix deal, if you will, where they're released straight to Netflix. And after that horrible remake we got last year in 3D, I was excited to return to the traditional animation, a more familiar atmosphere when it came to a new Pokemon release. And I thought that Secrets of the Jungle was fun. I actually quite enjoyed it. The music was really kinetic. The Zarude were a fun new mythical Pokemon to explore. And once again, we have this conservation message, which is heavy in Pokemon in general, but has particularly played a large role in these last few feature length films. Though it is just Tarzan, the Pokemon edition. So, how far up the list could it really go? Coming in at number 9, I have Wish Dragon. Is this basically just the Aladdin story? Yes, but, and it's a big but, it actually derives from the original Chinese story in which Aladdin was derived from. So, can we really blame it for feeling similar to Aladdin, a film that was taken from the Chinese culture and put somewhere else? If anything, it's kind of riding the ship that was. In saying all of that, Wish Dragon is a fun film. I thought the voice work, particularly from John Cho, was wonderful. It suffers from the dragon and the boy's relationship waning throughout, the dragon being a little bit unlikable in aspects. And once again, the humor just not fully landing. And honestly, the whole focusing on a love story thing doesn't really do much for me. But the animation is beautiful. It has these really inventive sequences. And when the humor does land, I think the film overall is quite enjoyable. Another animation from Netflix, and I do think it's a very solid offering from the streaming service. Coming in at number 8, smack dab in the middle of our countdown, I have Vevo, one of two films on this ranking that Lin-Manuel Miranda played a part in. Vevo is a wonderful celebration of Cuban culture, particularly. Like many on this list, we talk a little bit about conservationism, but here it's played for more of a laugh and a little bit over the top. Vevo is an adorable little monkey, though Lin-Manuel might have been an odd choice to voice him. Our little girl is plucky and she definitely skirts that annoyance level. She is right up on the edge of what I can tolerate with annoying, plucky characters in animation. The songs vary, though at the end of the day, none of them are quite memorable enough to move this any higher up on my list personally. The animation is beautiful and it's lively. The story itself is really touching, actually, and very heartfelt. Ultimately, like some of the songs here, the Vevo is a bit all over the place. But ultimately, like a lot of the songs here, Vevo is a little bit all over the place when in terms of quality, though the overall story that's being told and these characters are lovable enough that it really does lift Vevo up above everything that came prior on the list. At number 7, I have Luca. That's right. Pixar is all the way down at number 7 for me this year. Now, I was so excited for Luca. Honestly, I was ready for this to be like my favorite film ever of any genre. I was so hyped for it. And maybe that did a disservice to the film because it ultimately just left me really disappointed. Of course, it's Pixar. The animation is absolutely stunning. And I would say the first half of the film is wonderful. It's a pure delight as we just understand these fish monsters and their relationship to humans, and we get to just experience life in Italy with our two best friends. But once they get onto land and the whole racing subplot comes into play, it really lost me. I did not care for that racing subplot at all. I didn't care for the villain plot at all. And the most interesting part of the film remained the friendship, particularly between our two lead boy characters. And their friendship and the connection that we were able to make with them early on helped make the finale of this film still hit hard and impactful. But it's just that entire middle section of the film didn't really work for me. So it's bookended by some greatness, but the mediocrity through the center keeps Luca from ranking any higher on this list and keeps it from really reaching the heights I've come so accustomed to with Pixar Studios. Again, at number 6, I have Ron's Gone Wrong. What a delightful little film that Disney unfortunately decided to completely bury. They ignored it, they pretended it existed, and just dumped it into theaters without any advertisement or fanfare. I thought this film was so cute. We have seen this type of story over and over again, but when it's delivered with this much heart and feeling, with this much care, it's impossible not to fall in love with this film. Ron is absolutely adorable as a character, and his relationship with Barney is the complete core of the film, and it sells the entire premise. Barney as a character is very relatable, I think, to many, including myself in many ways. The establishment of their characters, the establishment of Barney and his relationship with his family really got me. Now, some of the side characters don't work nearly as well, and their arcs feel a little bit shoehorned in. And the comedy, I'd say, hits at about a 2/3 rate, and when it misses, it really misses. But it hits enough. The physical, visual gags work really well, and the heart of the film lifts it above even the likes of Pixar this year. Now, breaking into our top five, I have Sing 2. I was actually shocked at how much I ended up enjoying Sing 2 because while I enjoyed Sing, I wasn't quite as high on it as a lot of other animation enthusiasts seem to be. For me, this sequel improves on everything from that first film. The characters feel more lived in, real, and deep. Their problems feel more relatable to me, honestly. The singing is still just as spectacular as the first time around, but this jukebox musical styling works once again, and they sound fantastic with the soundtrack. Plus, we add in these new characters like Halsey, who is amazing in this film, and even Bono is wonderful. That's the theme this year for me, and often when it comes to film in general. The heart is there. It has a pure heart that saves it, honestly, from ever falling too far off course. Not all the hijinks works, and honestly, I think that the villain subplot could have almost been entirely deleted and the film would have actually been better for it. But enough of the comedy gags are fun. The animation is a step up from the first, and the songs will have you singing along. All right, now we are up to my top four. And I have to say, I really, really enjoyed all four of these films, obviously to a bit of varying degree, but putting them in an order actually turned out to be a lot more difficult than I had anticipated. And I have to say, I did not imagine this film coming in at number four. But here we go with Flea. I know it's probably sacrilegious to have Flea down at number four underneath these other films. But at the end of the day, while I appreciated Flea and I loved and was intrigued, completely enthralled by the story, the animation itself took me out a little bit from the story being told. Though it does match tonally to the film, I always wished it was a little bit more polished. I love that we got an animated documentary and one about immigration and feeling like an outsider, one that tells this really harrowing tale of what it means to be an immigrant and the hardships you go through just to stay alive as an immigrant. And we added on top of that the extra aspect of being a queer person of color immigrant trying to survive in a predominantly white country that is not accepting of the queer community still, or people of other races, to be honest. There were certain parts of Flea that did start to drag just a bit. There would be really exhilarating moments, much like a lot of documentaries, actually. And then we would get to lulls in the storytelling. While I appreciate Flea and what it did, what it represented, and for bringing us an animated documentary, just didn't quite hit home like my top three did and stay with me on an emotional level like these others did. So coming in at number three, I have Encanto. I'm not going to lie. After my first viewing of Encanto, it was 100% behind Flea for sure, and may even have been behind a couple of these others. It was much further down the list. However, I've seen Encanto two other times since then, and I have loved it more and more. All of the problems I had after that first viewing have just melted away. The songs are so fantastic. Each and every song in this film is perfect. They're all great and they serve the story so well. Range in relatability, in style and catchiness. And we have this beautiful celebration of culture of Colombia this time around. Once again, Lin-Manuel Miranda is here to make sure that these Latinx cultures are celebrated in animation. And I greatly appreciate him doing so. But I love the fantastical element of this story of this family with their powers, with this house that comes alive, and the heart and soul of it all being the one without all of the special powers. The story itself is actually really intricately woven. The characters and how they behave and the decisions they make are done really well. I only wish we had time with some of these others within the family. Once we get to that third act, everything just clicks. I think that Encanto is a beautiful film with a lot of heart and some fantastic music to match the absolutely stunning animation. Here we are at my top two animated films of the year. And coming up in that runner up position, I have Raya and the Last Dragon. Now, I feel like at large, people are actually pretty divided on Raya and the Last Dragon. I don't know if many out there actually love it as much as I do, but I think it's fantastic. Upon rewatching the film, I still absolutely love it. Raya and Tuk Tuk are amazing as characters. And yes, partially just because Tuk Tuk is adorable and I want him. But Raya is a fully fleshed out lead female character who has a lot of flaws in her personality. And it's those flaws that she has to overcome just as much as any outside villain. Our villains here are also quite relatable and understandable. And I love the merging of the two cultures to come together to save the world, if you will. Plus, Sizu is just adorable. The original score in this film is absolutely amazing. And honestly, I think one of the best original scores of 2021. Wish people were talking about it and it was getting the praise that I think it deserves. But this story is beautiful. It just comes to life with the magic. These characters are all fantastic and help to flesh out this world. And the action is amazing. Some of the best action we have ever seen set to animation, if you ask me. I love Raya and the Last Dragon. It's also not wholly original, if you will, but it's executed to near perfection in my eyes. And I haven't stopped thinking about it and loving it way back in early 2021. So that means there's only one left. There's only one film that could be my favorite number one animated movie of 2021, and that is Mitchell's vs. the Machines. Yep, Netflix and Sony Animation have done it again with an absolute banger in Mitchell's vs. the Machines. This is one of those films where, no, not all the humor hits, but when you are throwing jokes out at rapid clips like this film does, even when only about 75% land, you're still laughing pretty much throughout the entire film. The bit with the pug never got old. But not only is the film funny, not only is it big, colorful, and beautiful with these really fun characters and their fun designs, but I wasn't anticipating it. It's so heartfelt. It's so touching. The family aspect and connection that takes place here is some of the best writing in all of 2021. This script is pretty airtight, honestly. It's got it all. It's got the humor. It's got the adventure. It's got the film nods. It's really relatable on a personal level. And of course, all of us film nerds instantly fall in love with Katie. And it's got the heart. It's got that beautiful connection between these characters that makes it feel like something actually very, very special. Plus, we got a little bit of LGBTQ representation snuck in there on top. So, what can I say? Mitchell's vs. the Machines was my favorite film across genres for quite some time, actually. And it still ranks as one of my favorite films of 2021. Make sure you check back for that list soon. But as it stands, without question, Mitchell's vs. the Machines is my favorite animated film of 2021. So that's it. That is my ranking. That's my list. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, though, I want to hear your list. What would you rank all of the animated films you saw in 2021? Leave those rankings either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.